12 essential poses that you need as a thrower to help you recover. These poses are going to specifically target your muscles that you use most during your throws and your lifts every day. This first pose is called seated spinal twist. You're going to want to stack your left leg on top of your right. Inhale to reach up with your spine, and exhale, turning your right hand onto your left knee and twisting to look behind. You want to hold each pose for about 30 seconds or 3 to 5 breaths. Coming out of the pose, restacking your legs so that the right is on top, inhaling to straighten up, and exhaling, twisting left hand to right knee, twisting to look behind. Next pose is lizard lunge. You're going to want to position your foot at the top corner of the mat, arms on the inside, choosing to come onto your forearms, your hands, or making fists. You want to make sure our knee is at a 90-degree angle and that our arms are on the inside of our leg. Back leg should not be rotated in or out, but nice and flat with your knee making contact on the mat for this variation of lizard lunge. Switching onto the other side, bringing both knees underneath you, and taking your left foot to the top corner of your mat, finding your comfortable hand position with both arms on the inside of your leg. This stretch is great for opening up the hips and groin area, stretching out those hip flexors, getting a little quad stretch, and also strengthening your core, maintaining that good posture. Transitioning into our next pose, go ahead and extend out your front leg. You can find a position with your hands on the top of your hips or coming down to arms on either side of the leg for support. Toes can be planted into your mat or facing up towards the ceiling. You want to keep that hip hinge and make sure your shoulders aren't too rounded in this pose, maintaining good posture. This will stretch out the hamstrings and also strengthen the muscles of your core and back. Switching onto the other side, bringing both knees underneath you, repositioning your other foot at the top corner of the mat, and straightening out your leg as much as you can. Arms coming down to either side. To transition into the next pose, you're going to come up into downward dog with your hips being the highest point. This is a good opportunity to strengthen your shoulders and get a nice, good calf stretch. You can do this by alternating, lifting each heel, going as slow or as fast as you want. From this position, you want to center your left foot, lift your right leg into the air, and swing it to the front of the mat. We're coming into pigeon pose. You want your front knee to be as close to 90 degrees as possible, keeping the back leg flat to the mat, not rotated in or out. And you can stay up on your hands or come onto your forearms for a deeper stretch. This is going to stretch out your piriformis, any muscles in that back pocket area, and it's also going to feel nice on that back leg's quad, giving that a little stretch too, along with the hip flexors. Switching onto the other side, centering your right foot, swinging your left leg through the front, trying to keep that front knee as close to 90 as possible, and then finding your comfortable arm position again. As we transition into the next pose, slowly lifting yourself out of this position, bringing both knees underneath you again. Coming to the long side of your mat, you're going to extend out your leg to the long side. You can stay up on your hips if you feel the stretch there, or come down onto your hands or forearms. The toes of the extended leg should also be facing forward. This is going to stretch out the adductor muscles of the extended leg, opening up the groin area. switching to the other side, bringing both knees underneath you, coming onto the other side of the mat, and extending the opposite leg, finding your comfortable hand position, making sure those toes are still facing forward, opening up the hips, and stretching out the adductors on the opposite side of the leg. Transitioning into the next pose, which is frog, allow your knees to come to the long side of your mat so that they're still cushioned, walking your legs out as far as they'll go, and once your knees are fully out, go ahead and flip your feet out to either side, choosing to stay up on your hands or coming onto your forearms like I did. This pose is great for opening up the hip, stretching out those adductors and the hip flexors. For the next pose, you still want to have your knees on the mat. You're going to act as if the mat was a door frame, spreading out your hands to the width that you would like, and then to stretch out the chest muscles and even the bicep in that arm, go ahead and dip your shoulder towards the center of the mat. Of course, you can use a real door frame for this as well, but this is always nice to be included in the practice. And for the next pose, still keeping your knees centered, you're going to center your right hand in between both of your shoulders, lifting up with your left and threading that left arm through. The weight of your body is then going to rest on the top corner of your forehead. You should feel the stretch kind of right in between your shoulder blades. This is great for opening up that area that's often hard to reach when stretching on your own. If you need to, visualize pulling something in with the extended arm, and switching, centering the left hand in between the shoulders, lifting up with the right, and threading the right arm through, weight resting on the opposite corner of your forehead this time. Coming out of this pose, switching to the other side of your mat, coming onto all fours again, creating a straight line between your shoulders and hands, making sure that they're stacked. Starting, we're going to arch your back up, tucking your chin to your chest for cat position. Then on your exhale, belly comes down to the mat, chest and eyes both look up. Inhale, cat. Exhale, cow. Flowing back and forth between these two positions at your own pace, going as slow or as fast as your body is telling you you need to today. This is good to relieve any back pain, but also strengthen the muscles of your core and back. Next, we're going to transition into our Cobra and Extended Cobra pose. You want to lie flat, keeping your hands engaged at chest level, lifting the head and neck slightly, but not cranking them up. Then from here, you're going to want to center your hands and push through them to lift your torso up into Extended Cobra. This will help strengthen your core and your spine. Chest and eyes should be looking at the same thing. Make sure you don't have your neck cranked up too far. For the last position, you're going to want to come to where you're lying flat on your mat, creating a T position with your arms, palms facing into the floor, extending the right leg into the air, and letting it fall to the side on the left. If you find that this position is a little too uncomfortable for you, you can bring your knees together, shift your hips to the right, and let them fall to the left. This will still be giving you a nice spinal twist, but will take a little bit of the pressure off your body. Switching to the other side, letting the left leg drape across your body, making sure to keep your shoulder blades flat to the mat. Or if you'd like, shifting your hips to the left, letting them fall to the right. This modification just takes a little bit of the pressure off your hips. It's great to end any practice or lift with this pose. It helps relieve spinal pressure and feels really good after a long day's work.